All right, here we are, second installment of the night on the Boneyard. We got Brian Monkey Boy from the Dude, and the Dude stands for
The
the
distinguished
Distinguished Order of
disobedience.
Disobedience. There it is.
Yes.
Excellent. So, how's Brian doing tonight?
Oh, I'm great. Can't complain. I just had tacos. So,
Oh, perfect,
you know,
perfect. And sorry, you're from Florida,
yeah.
Sarasota.
Yeah. I actually live in Ocala, Florida, but the band's out of Sarasota,
Oh, okay,
a little
excellent.
south of Tampa.
Okay, nice, 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 nice. Um, so let's start it off. Tell us about the band.
Oh, well, we've been a band for quite a while right now. We're just about on September 17th, we're going to be releasing our fifth studio album called Dissonance, which is really good. But we've been around for a while. We tour the country quite often, and we're a heavy metal band. Basically, we don't like to be tied down to any heavy metal tends to have so many subgenres. I don't understand. I don't
Mhm.
understand most of them. Like I don't know if I'm grindcore. I don't know what that is, but I do know that like we have some stuff that'll lend itself to, maybe towards grindcore or towards death metal or towards, whatever it may be, or even old school metal, whatever it is. And we want the freedom to be able to do that. We don't want to try to pigeonhole ourselves too much into that. So,
Mhm. Yeah, for sure, right? And so as I said before we went live here, I'm fairly new to the band. Obviously, I read you got a new album coming out. Is this your first one?
this is no, this is like I said, this is our fifth studio.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
This is our fifth
Excellent.
album, and this album we recorded with Jim Morris over at Morris Sound Studios in Tampa, who did all of the Cannibal Corpse albums, the Obituary albums, all of the even did like Seven Mary 3 and did a
Oh
bunch
wow.
of that. Like he's done a legend
Mhm.
in the music in the business and in our area. So it was really nice to work with him this time around.
For sure. So what is a obviously it brings a lot to the table. Then what for your own experience going in there, you got the songs written, you got everything ready to go into a studio. What does a guy like that do? Does he change anything with you?
Uh,
Does he give
yeah,
you direction?
he he's basically he's an engineer, so he puts the sounds together that we make. A producer would normally be the ones who come in and tell you, all right, no, well, you're going to change all of that and do this my way. Uh, he doesn't do that. What he will do, though, is, and what makes it really good is through the years of experience that he has, to be able to go in there and say, hey, Jim, what do you think about this? And then he'll be like, well, I think it sounds great, but if it were me, maybe I might do this. You know what I mean? So it's just it's almost like a fatherly guidance.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So that works out pretty
Yeah, for sure. How about the rest of the band? Who are the members of the rest of the band?
all right. We have Rainis Dude, which rhymes with Your Highness, apparently. I don't know. Definitely doesn't rhyme with anything else other than Your Highness. Rainis plays guitar, and Jonesy Dude plays the bass. Uh, Jonesy and Ray started the band hmm, quite a while ago. We're not even real sure when it started anymore. I've been with the band for about 10 years. Um, and we have Indy on the guitar, and we have Rudy on the drums, and that's the whole band.
All original members as well?
No,
No.
no. Actually, the only original members are probably Ray and Jonesy.
Hmm.
But like I said, I've been there for about 10 years. Indy's been there for 4 years, maybe now 5 years. Rudy's the newest member, but he's been there for a couple of years now too. And it's uh, after going through because we've had members who all of our members are always willing to welcome to come back and join us on stage anytime they want. We have no problems with anybody. people's lives just kind of change and they go off in different directions at times. Um, but we have the lineup now that we've been very happy with as far as that goes, and it seems to be the one that works best for us. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so just kind of surfing through your social media, you got a good social media following with you. Obviously, you've done some touring, you're picking up some fans along the way, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, one thing that really stood out is social media and just how important it is in today's world. Obviously, social media controls a lot of things, and but you're very active on there, promoting a lot of shows, and there's some live clips. Obviously, sounds great, great live band, right?
Oh
Lots
yeah.
of energy and um. What do you got coming up for live shows?
For live shows, our next live show is actually our CD release party.
Mm,
I know that sounds weird. It's our we released the album streaming on the 17th, and we're going to be doing a CD release party on the 21st in Sarasota. Actually, it's going to be an old school warehouse party. So literally, it's going to be in a parking lot in front of a warehouse. Bring your own whatever booze, whatever you do, and usually we do maybe one of these a year as far as just having a warehouse party, and we usually get a couple hundred people there, just word of mouth. It's a free show, but people will be able to pick up an actual physical copy of the CD there, and we'll have all new merch for that, so that'll be good. And after that, we'll also be in Bradenton, Florida, which is not too far away. The following Saturday at Oskira. Uh, we just we're we're constantly playing. Actually, is kind of the thing. I think we're gonna go on tour probably through Texas in October, and we've been trying to get. We've had people asking us to come back out. Arizona, Nevada way, and probably California way here shortly too. So, yeah, you never know.
excellent. So what does the Dude live show entail? How would
um,
you describe it to someone who hasn't seen you before?
it's a circus, really. I mean, it's fun. It sometimes it's just straight up, balls to the walls kind of thing. Um, Sometimes there's blood being spit out everywhere. There's weird stuff going on. Sometimes, I mean, you just never know what you're going to get. And we try not to do the same show twice if we can help it. But we just want to make sure that it's good.
Yeah, it's a veteran move right there. That's for sure. Not recycling the same thing, right?
Yeah.
One thing, just listening to a couple songs of yours and just seeing some live videos. One thing, just on yourself there, vocal abilities. What do you do to keep up with your vocals? Because you got some pretty strong vocals there. There's a couple of hints of some Bruce Dickinson going on there for me. I thought.
Yeah, I think I've heard that a bunch. I hear a bunch of different, it's funny how many different, uh, as for first to answer the question, really, honestly, I just sing often. I started off a long time ago as a guitar player. I got suckered into singing, and then I kind of liked it, and I wound up taking some opera lessons. And then that really wasn't for me, but I took what I learned from the opera lessons to learn how to sing correctly. And then when it came down to doing the screaming and all that sort of stuff, as we started playing more and more often, and as through the years, as I started doing a lot more touring with other bands and with this band, it was more imperative to make sure that I do the warm-ups beforehand, and I make sure that I keep everything together to be able to do it night after night, or else, and I never lose my voice. But this is what I sound like when I talk. So you'd think I've lost my voice, but I never do. It's kind of weird. But yeah, no, Bruce Dickinson was a huge influence. But there's I've got so many of them, and I think I wear them all on my sleeve. I just kind of wrap them up into one.
Okay. I think the first song I heard here was 2,000 Miles.
Ah,
Yeah. That's the one that it's still right away, and that's kind of where I got some Dickinson vibes right away. And that's great. So you talk about him being an influence, band wise. What are some bands that are influences to your band? I found something on Spotify, and it was like a playlist based around your band, and started seeing some things in there. I don't know if you've seen that. It's kind of neat though.
I don't know if I've seen it either, to be honest.
Oh yeah, no, it's pretty neat.
But no, honestly, we have. I mean, we have far-reaching influences. I mean, if you talk to Ray, Ray's a huge Merciful Fate fan, King Diamond, but like loves Ozzy, Black Sabbath. Jonesy's a lot more into, I would say, more the new metal kind of stuff.
Okay.
I kind of run the gamut of everything. Like I started out listening to early death metal and obviously Iron Maiden, but like Led Zeppelin and all that sort of stuff. And I'm just a huge fan of most of the new metal stuff. Most of the love Slipknot. I love Lamb of God. Stuff like that. Our drummers are has a huge punk influence. He
Mhm.
loves punk music, and I mean, I love punk music too. Not saying I do, but it's just one of those things. So I think that's what actually helps us get our sound the most is that everybody brings their influences to the table. So when we bring a song to the table to write it, if it's already even if it's already kind of put together, everybody gets their 2 cents in there. By the time it's all said and done, it sounds like us rather than just the one thing that it
Yeah.
started out as. So it works out really well.
Hmm. Yeah, no, and you know what? I think a lot of good bands obviously come from that too. When there's more outside influences than oh, this band, they all listen to the same thing, right? If obviously having a punk sounding drummer can definitely change things.
Well, yeah, I mean, he loves like Exodus and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Just the Anthrax but it's just having that extra influence from that side of things, from the punk side of things, kind of can change it up a little
Yeah,
bit.
for sure, right? I'm looking at the comments here on the chat here. It looks like we got Jonesy dude in the chat here, and it's kind of looking up a couple of people here. You got,
Oh, yeah,
you
they
got
went to a Bucks game today.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Yeah, no, just kind of looking through and yeah, you got some people chiming in there. That's I'll be honest, I haven't really seen that much before, but I saw the chat going off, so I thought, well, that's kind of cool.
Hey,
um
Eric. Hello, Lisa. We all love you as well, Lisa.
Eat, sleep, and breathe metal. There we go.
Yeah.
So obviously talking about influences now. How about bands that maybe are undiscovered, or just bands that you feel that people need to look up? Doesn't have to be undiscovered. Just bands in general. It's always interesting hearing what we know what you listen to growing up, but what do you want people to listen to?
Well, as far as especially newer stuff, um, we are so lucky that we get to go from state to state and play with all these different bands, and I found so many bands that I wind up putting into my playlist. On the way, I feel like they're my little secret stash of. There's a band out of New Mexico called EYE. Really good, really good. I think they're like a Native American reservation band, but
Okay.
they're really really good. Um, uh, from around here, there's a bunch of really good bands. Cipher Machine is a really good band that I tend to listen to a whole bunch. Um, uh, there's I got to tell you, that's a really difficult question as far as that goes, because there's so many. Um, and there's a band called Armageddon 3 Megiddo, which is A3M. You could probably look them up; it'd be easier. But and it's just two people. It's just a drummer and a bass player, and they make more noise than anybody I've ever played with, and they sound great. So that's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, as far as what's out there now, um, I find that I'm not like pinned down to any one genre anymore to what I'm listening to. But I mean, I'm a huge fan of Avatar, great band out there. A lot of the bands that I probably listen to a lot more because I don't get out as much to go see larger shows unless I'm on them. It's kind of most of what I would say is probably yesterday's news already. But I mean, I Prevail is really good, and all a lot of these bands are really just kind of. I think everybody deserves a listen. Everybody.
Oh, for sure, right? For sure.
Love them or hate them, listen to them once. If you hate them, don't listen to them again.
Exactly. So you say large shows. What kind of capacities have you played? You played some large ones. I see you. Did you open for Trapped at one time?
We just about a week and a half ago.
Oh, really? Okay. I saw that come up on social media. I didn't look at the date, to be honest, but I just saw Trapped. I thought, wow, haven't heard of them for a while, but they had some good songs, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was a packed house. It was a good time. We've played a festival down here. Welcome to Rockville it was at the Daytona Speedway. So just a huge kind of thing. It was a lot of people, but we played for a lot of people. And we opened up for Mushroom Head. We've opened up for. I could just look, but I'm not going to. I should remember everything. But no, we have opened up. We do our fair share opening up for people, anywhere from Anvil to. We've opened up for Overkill. We've opened up for King 810 we opened up for. And thank you, Jonesy. Combi Christ. We just a bunch of. I love Combi Christ, by the way. That's another band I think more people should be into. That I think they evade a lot of people's radar. But yeah, so we play some pretty good things. We're supposed to be going to Europe next summer.
Oh wow!
And doing a festival, which I can't tell you what we're doing because it hasn't been announced yet. So it's that big secret thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Tony Stark's going to show up, and it's going to be Robert Downey Jr. again, I think.
Excellent. Well, that's good though. So obviously, playing these bigger shows, do you ever? It's a weird question, but do you ever get nerves going to play live, or it's just energy?
I get nerves every time before I go on stage. The second I get on stage, it's gone. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I'm always nervous beforehand, and I gotta. If I'm going to be honest, it sounds stupid, but mainly I'm just nervous. I'm going to fall off the stage.
Yeah. But it happens.
It does. It has.
So
happened.
It's nothing to be ashamed of, right?
Yeah.
But isn't that it though? Is standing backstage before you go on, you're nerved up, but the second you're on, you hear a crowd, just anything, right? It just seems to go away, and then you look back and you're like, why was I nervous? In the next show, it's repeat again.
Well, and sometimes you're waiting around for a show for like 3 or 4 hours to get on stage, and that's a long time to be kind of stewing in that little pre-show jitters thing. That's a long time to be doing that. So it's kind of, I try to walk around, talk to everybody I can possibly talk to, and keep myself as busy as possible.
For sure.
I don't get too bad.
So just continuing on with the talk of the live show, one thing that happened where I'm from obviously, well, I should say obviously, I don't think anyone knows this. I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, so in Canada, the coldest part. The coldest. I'm there. So one thing that happened about 4 years ago, March, April, May, was the COVID outbreak that shut down the live show. Lots of venues. We lost lots of venues, very good venues around here. How did your band deal with COVID? Was there a halt to the live show down there? I'm not too familiar with.
Well, Florida is like the Wild West now. I mean, but really a lot of things did shut down. We did play some live shows, but even they were like, you'd show up and there'd be 10 people all wearing masks. We did a lot of live streaming because there really wasn't, we weren't going to stop playing. And we tried to make sure we kept everybody interested in stuff. But yeah, it was very tough. And I don't think the music economy should if I can say it that way, I don't think it's recovered quite fully yet. I mean, people don't go out like they used to anymore. People don't do the same thing. It's very hard unless it's they seem to pick one big show they're going to go to, and they all go out to that, and then the smaller shows kind of fall by the wayside for a lot of people. So, and it's unfortunate. I mean, I do understand a lot of people are trying to save money, and they realize that, oh my God, I got Netflix and I can watch anything I want whenever I want. But I'd really love to see people come out again the way they used to, and they're starting to. It's just taking a little bit. Yeah, Jonesy said we wrote our last album, Firefly, during the COVID era. And if you haven't checked that out yet, Joel, you're going to like it. You're going to like it. It's a Canadian thing.
Perfect. Yeah, just in speaking of that, I think that's what a lot of bands did. A lot that I've talked to since I've kind of jumped in helping with the Boneyard here is it's actually it's come up quite a bit because you're right. It really hasn't stopped, right? Years leading up to it, I remember going to 12 big shows a year, and now like I'm lucky if I go to one. I do support more of the local scene now, and in my city we have a really strong local scene, and it's quite something. So it's different talking to someone from a different place that might have a different perspective of it, but it sounds like we almost went through the same thing, right, with the close downs, and I find that there's a lot of the big shows that come here, and it still doesn't put fans in the seats, and
not the way they used to. But it's not the way it used to. The big shows, even the smaller shows. I mean, and with some of our favorite venues closed down during that period of time and never reopened, and it's just sad to see. And that was countrywide. There are places that they just didn't recover. Yeah.
I think obviously there's a bit of I don't know how it is down there, but up here we got a bit of a financial problem. Our groceries are double what it was 4 years ago, and everything's going up right now. Even the price. I work for a car dealership. Price of vehicles, everything's up. It's hard to afford to go to a show, and ticket prices have really gone up. The Ticketmaster's dynamic pricing hasn't helped anything.
Well, Florida certainly hasn't had prices drop.
No,
everything's really expensive, and it's a thing. It's just what's going on now.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see a change in that, but we don't know
for sure, right? And speaking of spending money, how about merch? Do you guys have places people can pick up merch?
Yeah, online you can go to thedudeband.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get merch right there. Right now, we are getting some new merch in, so there'll be a whole bunch of new merch on there soon. But there you can still get you can get music downloads there. There's like a print as you go shop kind of thing. You get hats, shirts, sweatshirts, that sort of stuff. Yeah, you can get all that right there on thedudeband.com.
Excellent. How did you get the name Monkey Boy?
For my unnatural love of monkeys. Okay.
There you go. Excellent.
We're going to go with that, and we'll stick with that.
Perfect. Sounds good. So I guess next thing is what's next? What's next? I know you got an album coming out, but sometimes when you talk to someone about an album coming out, they're already writing again.
Yeah, well, we're right now. We've got so many songs that are written that we kind of pair them up and write new stuff too, and try to put together what goes best together in a group for an album. But the writing process never stops. So we will be, right now, what's next is to go out and tour this album as much as possible. When we're back at home in the rehearsal studio, we'll be writing the next album and seeing which way that takes us. And like I said, it's just going to be a lot of touring for the next year or so. And within, we'll probably, we're going to try to get another album out. I can't speak out of class, but I'd say probably we'd like to do, we aim for one a year. It never works out, but we aim for one a year. We did, I'm filming a movie.
Okay.
We did a song on this album called Final Girl, and we went to go shoot the video for it. And I rented a cabin in the woods, and I filmed it like a B, like 80s horror movie.
Okay.
And I filmed like for the music video, and I filmed like enough of it to where now I'm sitting down and I'm watching all the footage, and I've got 50 minutes of usable footage so far. And I'm like, well, I might as well just finish this up and put out a movie. Because it makes, I mean, nobody will probably watch it, but if they do, they're probably not going to like it. And that'll be all right. It'll be okay. It'll be fun. We put the first video out. You'll see there, if you go on YouTube, you'll see there's a Final Girl director's cut. We weren't able to do a full press release on that because some of the advertisers wouldn't take it. They said it was too much for them. So but really, I didn't think it was that much. I didn't. It's like really bad B movie horror, So I had to do like the Disney edited version, which just came out. So there's a regular version where there's no violence in it whatsoever, and then there's the slightly more violent one with a little bit more blood. So go to YouTube, check out Final Girl. You're gonna like that
for sure. Just wrote that down. Actually, you know what though? There's an audience for that though, and there's a large audience of that. I know people myself that's what it is. That's what they're looking for.
Oh yeah.
So I'll spread the word on that one. Check that out. That's pretty cool. What's someone's chiming in there? Oh yeah, watch it all the time. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes, you will, Audrey. Thank you so much.
So back to the new album coming out, full-length album.
Yes, 13 songs. 2 are interludes, so it's basically 11 full-length songs, but it's still all worth listening to.
Interludes are good.
Yeah.
Have you ever done an EP before? 5-song EP or so?
We did a 5-song EP called The Beautiful Ride EP.
Okay.
And that I don't know if Jones is still on here. I don't remember what year that was, but that was right before Indy joined the band. We did The Beautiful Ride EP, and that had some older stuff on it and some newer stuff, and it had a cover of that one had a cover of Plowed by Sponge on it, actually, which was kind of fun and fun to do. But yeah, that was good. And then we followed that up with Indy had joined the band afterwards, and we did another full-length album called Buttercup, which is the most metal name you could ever have for an album.
Yeah. Absolutely. What's your thoughts of the whole EP world versus full length? Even some bands that just release singles alone.
I think there's a place for just releasing singles, though. Yeah. I think there is, and I think for some bands, if that's their model of how they want to do it, I think that's great. I personally, I come from an era, not to date myself, but I'm old. Not old, but I'm old, like 142 or so. But I love an album, man. I mean, like I love an album. I'm a sucker for a great song, but if you can put together an album that sounds good from front to back, you have me. You know what I mean? I have fallen in love with your band, and I am now going to listen to you for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, EPs are great because sometimes that's what kind of fits together. That's what kind of comes together, and you got 4 or 5 songs that work. But you know, like I said, nowadays, sometimes the singles are the way to go because people aren't ingesting music the exact same way that they used to ingest music. And streaming, a lot of times people are never going to hear your whole album. They're going to listen to what they've heard from somebody else. And then they were told, okay, well, that's a good song. And they'll listen to that song. They might check out 1 or 2 other things, but usually they move on. They'll add you to a playlist, and that's where you'll stay. You know, it's so putting out a single can help.
Yeah, it almost makes sense sometimes with it, right? That was actually the next thing I was going to ask you, and the most controversial thing I was going to ask you is your stand on streaming. Obviously, you know it has to happen to get your music out in this day and age. But you're right in the way that, and I'm victim of it myself. When you have access to streaming, you almost lose sight of the album.
Mm. Well, and I think that's. I think streaming is both a blessing and a curse. I love the accessibility that it gives to artists that would not necessarily have a chance to be heard. You know, anybody can stream music. Just about anybody can stream music. But it does completely change the music business because it takes away how artists used to make their money in the music business, i.e. selling albums, doing and the way that things were set up with record labels and all that sort of stuff, which wasn't always great. But at least it was a clear-cut model to go by. Now there is no clear-cut model. You have to you tour as much as you can, you sell as much merch as you can, and that's great. But now the venues now want to start taking a piece of the merch, and then you know, and the touring now they want to start, you know, charging you to go play their venue and make them money, and that doesn't make any sense. So it you know, at the end of the day, it kind of caused an upheaval in the whole business end of it, which is the part that most of us musicians don't even want to think about. You know what I mean? Most of us would rather just play music and not have to worry about, you know, any of the business end. You know, all right, well, I'll get my lawyer on that. That's fine. And then go away. You know what I mean? And that would be the best way to do it. But you can't. You have to be now, because of streaming and because of the way that works. Now every musician has to be a social media genius. They have to be a marketing genius. They have to, you know, it's very, very difficult. Thank God we've been lucky enough to have some really helpful people. We've had our buddy Jackie Freed, Jackie Christ Superstar, as we like to call her, who's been helping us out with social media for a very long time. We've had Eric Leviathan from Self Made Records, who's been helping us out a lot with a lot of the press and that kind of area of things, and getting everything kind of pulled together as a team, and it really works out better that way. But I think that the streaming thing, like I said, it does help. It helps people get to hear you, but there's no other side to that.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. What's the talking about albums? What's the best album you've listened to recently? Front to back. Front to back. Best album I've listened to recently. Does it have to be a recent album?
Nope. Okay. Buckcherry, their first album with All Lit Up on it.
Yeah.
Front to back, great album.
For the movies?
For the movies was on there.
Yeah. All right. I didn't expect that.
It's a great album. Front to back. I'm sorry. It was weird. I was in the car the other day. I'm like, you know what I haven't heard in a while? I haven't heard, you know, I kind of fell out of the Buckcherry tree a long time ago. You know, that whole crazy bitch thing was whatever. But But I was like, I haven't heard that in a while. They put it on. I put that album on and I listened to it, and I was like, I forgot how damn good this was,
Yeah,
and it is. So yeah,
it was a good one.
I'm gonna
I was
stick
gonna
by my answer, sir.
I was gonna say when you mentioned them, I was gonna say you're still a fan though. But if you follow, you know what? I think the last thing I heard from them was the album with Crazy Bitch on there. But they knew what they were doing. They knew they could get a hit out of that one.
Oh, they knew it.
Oh yeah. There was that, and there was another song. I'm not sure if you know the band Finger 11. They had a song called Paralyzer.
Paralyzer.
It was right at that same time.
Yeah,
and they knew what they were doing. Yeah.
They knew exactly what they were doing with that song.
Absolutely. So that's it's been great chatting with you. Do you got any words for your fans out there? We got some people watching. You got people chatting in here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm pretty sure your social media is streaming this live as well on
yes,
Facebook.
It is.
Yeah. So excellent. Good for you. You're marketing yourself. That's excellent.
Well, goes back to that last comment I mentioned.
Yeah.
The whole thing. But yeah, no. To the fans, thank you so much for everything. You've always been there for us, and we'll continue to be there for you. Make sure you check out, if you go to thedudeband.com, right there on the homepage, you should be able to save this new album for streaming. So basically, when you wake up on the morning of September 17th, you will have brand new Dude music right in your library, right there, right for you. And come out and see us anywhere you see us playing. And if we're not playing near you, write us, let us know, and we will figure out how to get to you. One way or another, we will do our best to get close enough to you so you can come and see a show, because we love you and we really want to play music for you. And that's what I got to say.
Have you been through Canada before?
I'm not touring.
No.
But we were almost going to go to Alberta.
Yep.
Last year. I think we're probably going to wind up going next year instead.
Was it for a festival?
It was for a festival. It was for a festival.
This is interesting.
But unfortunately, it was we didn't have enough. We didn't have enough supporting shows on the way up and back at that given time, and we didn't have enough time to put it together. So it wasn't. It wouldn't have been worth our while to do a 40+ hour drive to play one festival and then come back. So and flying is not exactly. It's like going to buy groceries in California.
For sure.
Yeah.
Did it back to that festival? Was it the Loud as Hell open air? Do you know?
No, it wasn't.
No?
It was. No, it was actually it was a newer festival.
Okay.
But yeah, it might have been Loud as Hell.
You should. My own advice: if you can get to that one, if you can line something up on the way, when they have that, I think you guys would fit in very good with there. I did interview a band from here that went and played there, and they said it was just a phenomenal place to play. And the bands are all so supportive. And I forget who the big one there was. It was Green Jelly, I think, something like that.
All right, now we're playing with them in December. That's
cool.
cool.
No way.
Yeah, we played with them a bunch, but we love those guys.
Oh, cool. Yeah, they played. There was just I'm just looking at the list here, and I think if there was a way you guys could line something up to get there, I think it's something you should definitely look into.
And that was the thing. We found out about it like kind of a day late and a dollar short, you know what I mean, on that whole thing. So now that we know about it, you know, we're going to get back in touch with the organizers and see what we can do about next year. So
excellent. All right, Brian. Well, it's been great chatting with you. It's great to see people in the chat as well. Looks like you got some support there. Jonesy's doing his work in there too. So
Jonesy. That's actually a redheaded woman. Jonesy is a bass player who is a redheaded woman.
Oh, there you go, Jonesy.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I see the picture. Excellent.
And
all right,
always trying to give somebody a get hedgehogs given away or so.
Yeah.
Hedgehogs.
Excellent. Well, it's been great chatting with you. Obviously, I'm sure you'll get a new fan out of this on, from myself, and I'll share this to my socials as well. And hopefully, we get some fans up in Canada here for you too as well.
That'd be great.